And welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm watching K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So, the Major League Baseball season is upon us. Yes, I know they had the 2 games in Japan with the Cubs and the Dodgers. But for most of us, the season begins Thursday, and it can't start soon enough. So, this is your 2025 MLB preview video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually predict season records for every team, all 30 teams. I got a couple of unders and overs, or Ovahs, Undahs, depending where you might live. And I'm also going to give you my playoff teams, some award predictions, and finally, who wins the World Series come, I would say October, but let's be honest, it's going to be November. All right, let's get right into it. Going to start in the American League East. And winning the AL East, I've got the New York Yankees with a record of 86-76. That's right. I don't think that the AL East, any AL East team is going to win 90 games this year. I think there is a lot of parity there, a lot of good teams, no great teams. And the Yankees appear to have a pretty great-looking team on paper, but Garrett Cole's out, Luis Gil is out for half the year, Clark Schmidt will miss a little bit of time. And now you got Marcus Stroman and Carlos Carrasco in the rotation. You look at the lineup. Juan Soto's gone. Giancarlo Stanton has tennis elbow in both elbows. Gleyber Torres is gone. They do have some players in Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt. I like the additions of Max Fried and Devin Williams to the pitching staff. And don't forget, they do have a full year of Jazz Chisholm. But I do wonder, who protects Aaron Judge? Without Soto there, I mean, I don't know who you're really worried about past Aaron Judge in this lineup. I could actually see Judge walking about 150 times. That would be top 10 all-time for a single season. So I got the Yankees winning the division, but not quite as good a record as they had last year. Second place, actually tied for second place. First, I've got the Boston Red Sox, 84 wins. Now, they begin the year with 3 starting pitchers, Lucas Giolito, Brian Bello, and Cutter Crawford on the injured list. They make the trade for White Sox starter Garrett Crochet. I like that acquisition a lot. Even though he hasn't pitched a lot of innings in his career, his raw stuff is just nasty. They bring in Alex Bregman to replace Rafael Devers at third base. The future of Devers is in question. And the Red Sox do have a lot of young prospects. Christian Campbell, Marcelo Mayer in the infield, outfielder Roman Anthony. So when are they going to come along and contribute to the big league team? That's going to make a difference. And don't forget about the bullpen. Red Sox had a very bad bullpen last year, 6th highest ERA in Major League Baseball. They had 2 very aging veterans in Aroldis Chapman, 37 years old, and Liam Hendricks, who's 36. So how do they hold up over 6 months? But I do think the Red Sox are good enough to get a wild card spot. Also getting a wild card spot from the AL East, I've got the Baltimore Orioles, also with 84 wins. They have been eliminated swiftly in the playoffs for 2 straight years. So with their recent regular season success, their much ballyhooed farm system, it's about time for them to see some success. Now, their rotation took a big hit. They lose Cy Young pitcher Corbin Burns to Arizona. Who do they add in his place? 41-year-old Charlie Morton. I can tell you, my father could not wait to see him leave the Atlanta Braves. Grayson Rodriguez, he could be an ace, but he's dealing with shoulder and lat issues. He starts the season on the injured list. They also had Gary Sanchez, Tyler O'Neill. They lose Anthony Santander. I think the key player is going to be Adley Rutschman. He's a 2-time All-Star catcher, but the second half of last season didn't go very well for him. He needs to bounce back. The Toronto Blue Jays, I've got at 4th place, finishing an even 81 up, 81 down. It's the last chance for this group. They've got several stars who are pending. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., George Springer, Bo Bichette, all free agents after this year. And that starting rotation, it's got some AARP memberships going on. Max Scherzer, who's 40 years old. Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios. The last 3 are all 31 years old or over. They did add Santander, so that was the offensive addition that got the attention. But I think that adding Andres Jimenez from Cleveland can be a big boost for that lineup with his speed, and also he'll give them great defense in the infield. Now, in 5th place, and this is my first under, I've got the Tampa Bay Rays at 75 wins, 87 losses. Their mark was 81.5 wins, so I think they're going to finish well under. I know the Rays often overachieve. I don't see it. Their rotation was supposed to be their strength. Well, let's look at that rotation. Shane McClanahan is hurt, and he's coming off a second Tommy John surgery anyway. Drew Rasmussen coming off a ligament injury. Shane Baz, he's a talented pitcher, but he's made only 20 starts in the last 3 years. Their home field situation is a mess with Tropicana Field currently not playable. This actually feels like the Arizona Coyotes playing in Tempe at the College Arena before they moved to Utah, the Mullet Arena. So I think it's going to be a very, very rough year for Tampa Bay. On to the AL Central, winning the division. You can make the argument for, I think, 4 teams, but I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers. I just like the top end of their rotation. Tariq Skubal, the reigning Cy Young winner. The Tigers went 21-10 in games that Skubal started. In the 131 games he didn't start, they finished 65-66. But now you add Jack Flaherty to the rotation, top prospect Jackson Joby to the rotation, and I think their rotation has a lot more depth now. And you look at the position players, Riley Green, Parker Meadows, Colt Keith, Trey Sweeney, Kerry Carpenter, Javier Baez. I'm just kidding on the last one. But the Tigers have assembled, I think, a very good young core of position players. And more than that, A.J. Hinch is a very good manager. He gets the most out of his roster. Second place, I've got the Minnesota Twins just missing the playoffs by a single game. They've got a great bullpen. Johan Duran, Griffin Jacks, Cole Sands. Pretty good pitching rotation. Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober. I wouldn't call it quite as good as Detroit's, but there's quite the upside there. The lineup, I'm a little worried about the lineup. Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Royce Lewis, they missed a lot of time in 2024. Max Kepler's gone as well. I just don't trust them to score enough runs to do it. Third place, actually tied for second place with Minnesota at 83 wins as well. I've got last year's ALCS runners-up, the Cleveland Guardians. You have Jose Ramirez, then not much else to me. You have to replace Josh Naylor's 31 home runs, 108 RBIs. It's not going to be easy. They're counting on Kyle Manzardo to take that next step. Now, last year, he played 53 regular season games, but then he hit 316 with an 842 OPS in the postseason. They do bring back Carlos Santana, see what he has left in the tank. And the rotation's got some questions after Tanner Bibby. Gavin Williams, talented lefty, but he has a history of elbow problems. You do have, another very good bullpen. Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis. I tell you what, this AL Central, they got some very good bullpens. I think a lot of these teams are very close, not too different than the East. I don't see great teams. And then in fourth place, I've got the Kansas City Royals, 82-80. I don't love the lineup after Bobby Witt. It's not, in a way, it's not that much different than Cleveland. You do have Vinny Pasquantino. He's turning 27. If he can have that next level season where he takes that step forward, that will help a lot. They do bring in Jonathan India, the infielder from Cincinnati. He's had up years, he's had down years. Let's see what he has. Salvador Perez, great catcher, been around a long time, but he's aging. And with the starting rotation, can Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha had the fantastic seasons this year that they did last year. They also had Carlos Estevez to the bullpen. You never know what you're going to get with him. And as far as the Chicago White Sox go, I've got them with 58 wins. Do I really need to get into them? Garrett Crochet's gone. They won 41 games last year, something like that. Bad stadium with a horrible security staff. Not that I'm still bitter. The only question is, what team will they trade Luis Robert to? So, I got no hope for the White Sox right now. And on to the AL West. So winning the division with 90 wins, I got this as one of my overs with the best record in the American League. I've got the Texas Rangers. That rotation. You have Jacob deGrom coming back, Nathan Eovaldi's return, but you've got some youth in Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. They needed to increase the power in their lineup. They bring in Jake Berger from the Marlins. They signed Jock Peterson, a very potent left-handed hitting bat in free agency. Now, one question, who replaces Kirby Yates, their all-star closer? Last year, 33 saves, a 1.17 ERA. Rangers brought in a lot of arms through trades and free agency. nobody that you would consider lights out. I think like their most marquee addition was Chris Martin, not the singer from Coldplay. If Texas is going to win, the rotation is going to have to be on, and they're going to have to score a lot of runs, and I believe that that will happen. Second place, I've got the Houston Astros getting a wild card spot. Now, Houston didn't reach the ALCS in 2024. First time that's happened since 2016. Wow. Isaac Paredes, he could be the wild card in that lineup, coming over from the Cubs. 31 home runs in 2023, only 19 last year for the Northsiders. The thing with Houston that I don't love, their lineup is right-handed dominant. Diaz, the catcher, Christian Walker, they bring him in from Arizona. Paredes, Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez. I'd like to see a little bit more balance in that lineup, especially with the loss of Kyle Tucker. Now, the rotation is interesting. After Framber Valdez, who will start opening day against the Mets, you have two very well thought of starters in Hunter Brown and Spencer Arrighetti. So can they give Houston that 2 and 3 that they're really going to need behind Framber Valdez as Luis Garcia works his way back from injury? So Houston's got, and of course, you have Josh Hader closing, always a good piece to have in your bullpen. Then coming in third place, I've got the Seattle Mariners at 82 and 80. Who's on third? I don't know. The Mariners are actually using their different third baseman in 4 years. They bring in Jorge Polanco. But the Mariners' offensive struggles, which have become famous around baseball circles at this point, really begin and end with Julio Rodriguez. We know he has all the talent in the world, but he is really yet to put together that fully dominant season. And the Mariners are known for their starting pitching, and they have maybe the deepest rotation in the game. Where George Kirby has shoulder inflammation, he starts the beginning of the season on the injured list. Fourth place, I've got the A's of Sacramento, soon to be Las Vegas, formerly of Oakland, formerly of Kansas City, formerly of Philadelphia. Welcome to Sacramento. The rotation is led by Luis Severino and lefty Jeffrey Springs. The other three starters in the rotation have a combined number of 69 career starts. That's it. But they do have Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker to anchor that lineup. Both have been signed to contract extensions. And the one thing with the A's, they did have the fourth best AL record after July 1st last year. And the fans in Sacramento, I believe that stadium is going to be filled a lot of nights. And maybe that gives them a little bit of a boost. Maybe that adds a little bit of excitement for that A's team. So not that I think they're going to have a very good year, but I don't think they'll finish in the cellar. I do have the Anaheim Angels, I still call them the Anaheim Angels, finishing in last with 70 wins and 92 losses. They haven't won a playoff game since 2009. That's 2 years before Mike Trout made his debut. They haven't advanced to the postseason since 2014. Anthony Rendon is basically in witness protection. Trout has played only 111 games in 2 years. There's not a lot to be excited. They did bring in a whole lot of sort of over-the-hill free agents, a lot of reclamation projects, the Travis d'Arnaud's of the world. I think J.D. Davis went over there too. They do have a pretty interesting bullpen. Ben Joyce can pitch 104, 105 miles an hour out of the pen, and Caley Jansen is there as well. Could be a great 1-2 punch when they're leading in the late innings. I just don't see that happening a whole heck of a lot. All right, so now with the American League out of the way, let's go over to the National League. Starting in the Eastern Division, the Atlanta Braves are the team that I've got winning the NL East with a record of 94 wins and 68 losses. Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider will be back at some point this season, coming off major injuries. The Braves didn't have a big offseason. They added like Brian De La Cruz, Jurickson Profar. They added him on a 3-year deal. I thought that was a pretty good signing to play in left field. Losing Max Fried is going to be quite the loss for that pitching rotation. So they're counting on Chris Sale being healthy, Spencer Schwellenbach taking another step forward, and of course Strider being healthy as well. But when this team is healthy, they are as talented as any roster in the National League this side of Los Angeles. Second place with a wild card berth, I've got the New York Mets. Juan Soto is the splash. You add that to an already very good lineup. It just takes it up that much more. But I think the biggest question people have about the Mets is their pitching staff. I think it's a better staff than a lot of people think. Kodai Senga, when he pitches, is a Cy Young level pitcher. Sean Manaea got better and better last year. Clay Holmes, Griffin Canning have been awesome in spring training. I do wonder about the depth of the bullpen, though. Edwin Diaz losing a little bit of velocity is a bit of a concern, but I could see at some point a Brandon Sproat being called up to help reinforce that pitching. And maybe even if the rotation struggles enough, the Mets could trade for a starting pitcher in their division who might be available. I'll be talking about him in just a moment. As far as the Philadelphia Phillies go, well, I've got them getting a wild card berth as well with 90 wins, finishing 1 game behind the Mets, 4 games behind the Braves. Heck of a rotation here with Zach. Can you believe Zach Wheeler is already 34 years old? He doesn't feel that old, but yeah, he's getting up there. Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez. And that lineup, when they're on, they're scary. But they can go into the tank when they're off. And remember, they are aging. JT Realmuto is 34. Kyle Schwarber is 32. Both of them are entering contract seasons. Trey Turner is already 31 years old. Bryce Harper is 32. Nick Castellanos is 33. And they had kind of an off season. They added Max Kepler. They added Jesus Luzardo to the rotation. Kepler, an outfielder from Minnesota. For their closer role to replace Carlos Estevez and Jeff Hoffman, who left, they bring in Jordan Romano, formerly of the Blue Jays. He's going to be a big X factor. He's a 2-time All-Star until last year when he was dealing with a lot of elbow injuries. I think this may be Philly's last chance to win with this core. 4th place, I've got Washington with a record of 74-88. It's been a slow, steady rebuild. Mike Rizzo, he's assembled a lot of high-end pieces. C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Mackenzie Gore. But there are others like Keibert Ruiz, their catcher, who needs to bounce back. In 2023, he had an OPS of 717. Last year, just 619. And they added some veterans. Josh Bell, Nathaniel Lowe, Paul DeYoung, Ahmed Rosario, Michael Soroka. The Washington fan base, and I've been to that stadium quite a few times, yeah, that fan base I don't think is ready to commit, especially with a lot of questions about the Lerner family, the ownership, the future of the franchise, and the willingness to spend money. So I think Washington will have another okay year. They'll win some games here and there, but I think they signed some of these players just to trade them. Last place, the Miami Marlins. Sandy Alcantara is back and likely getting traded. I could see him going to the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox. Miami's going to have a bidding war for him. The player to watch is shortstop Xavier Edwards. He got a little taste of the majors in 2023. He finally came back to the Marlins in the second half of last year, and he took over as their leadoff hitter in July. Makes a lot of contact, has excellent speed. So I don't see a whole lot of things to get excited about down there in Miami Gardens, but Xavier Edwards is a pretty good one. On to the NL Central, and winning the NL Central, I've got them as an over. Their over is 85.5 wins. I've got the Chicago Cubs with a record of 88 wins and 74 losses. Now, Jed Hoyer is in the last year of his contract as the president of baseball operations. He needs his Northsiders to produce. So he adds Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley from Houston, but there is more to the pen than just the new closer. Porter Hodge is only 24. He should be their primary setup man, coming off a stellar rookie campaign, 1.88 ERA in 43 innings. Now the lineup loses Cody Bellinger. They shed his salary. That can't be ignored. Now they did add Matt Shaw to be on their opening day roster. He is one of the odds-on favorites to win Rookie of the Year. And I think one of the best under-the-radar moves is Justin Turner. Turner may be that vet, that clubhouse presence they need to help them grow up a little bit and take that step up and win those big games that they otherwise may not be able to win. So I think Turner was a very sneaky good pickup. Second place is one of my unders. So this team has a projection of 83.5 wins. I got them finishing at 81-81. It's the Milwaukee Brewers. Offense, where have you gone? Willie Adames gone to San Francisco. Brewers didn't even replace him. They didn't even try to. Jackson Chourio has to become the team's best player for a full season. He's capable, but that's a heck of a load to carry for such a young man. With the pitching, they used 17 starting pitchers last year. Now they bring in Jose Quintana. They bring in Nestor Cortez from the Mets and Yankees, respectively. Is Brandon Woodruff, though, ready to come back after shoulder surgery? But then they trade Devin Williams to the Yankees. They've had a deep pen, but now they've lost, I would say, one of the 2 or 3 best closers that's out there. Trevor McGill will likely get the first opportunity to assume that role. Will he be able to handle it? Or will it be a Nick Mears, a Joel Payamps, somebody like that? I just don't trust this lineup to hit enough right now, so I've got the Brewers falling back down to 500 and missing the playoffs. Third place, the Cincinnati Reds, 78 and 84. Reds wasted no time in landing Terry Francona, and they hired him just 11 days after they fired David Bell. Now, when you think Reds lineup, you think Elly De La Cruz, but watch out for Matt McClain. When he was a rookie in 2023, he was their best player, and he had missed all of last season due to a shoulder injury. And that rotation can be sneaky good. Nick Martinez is back. They traded for Brady Singer. Wade Miley should be back in May, that veteran lefty. Also, 2023 number 7 pick, Rhett Lauder, had a 1.17 ERA in 6 games down the stretch last year. So I think Cincy could be pretty sneaky good here too. And then coming in fourth place, I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates with a record of 76 and 86. The Buccos will really go as far as their pitching can carry them. Now, everyone knows Paul Skeens, his 1.96 ERA and his Rookie of the Year award. But right behind him, you've got Jared Jones, who showed flashes of brilliance in his debut season. And they've got more prospects coming. Bubba Chandler, Thomas Harrington. All these right-handed pitchers are 23 years old or younger. But you got to wonder about the lineup. The Pirates finished last in the NL in slugging, 371, and 14th in on-base percentage, 301. And their biggest moves on offense this year were resigning Andrew McCutchen and adding Tommy Pham and Adam Frazier. Okay role players, but not difference makers. And you look at their young cornerstones, O'Neal Cruz and K. Brian Hayes, they're good players, but injuries have really slowed them down over time. So I got to see that Pittsburgh lineup do it before I believe in them. And last place, I'm going with the St. Louis Cardinals with a record of 75 and 87. Somehow Nolan Arenado remains. Wilson Contreras gets moved to first base. He is no longer a catcher. I don't know what to expect from this lineup. It's not overly powerful. It doesn't have a lot of speed. I mean, only the Rockies, Braves, and Giants stole fewer bases last year. And with the rotation, it's anchored by Sonny Gray and Eric Fetty. Steven Matz is actually still in it. And Ryan Helsley, their closer, is likely getting traded. I only seem to know the St. Louis Cardinals as a good team, like one of the model franchises in baseball, but this is a tough stretch for them. On to the NL West we go, and I've got the LA Dodgers winning the division. Shock. With a record of 103 and 59. Now, they are starting the season with a lot of pitchers on the injured list. Clayton Kershaw, Tony Gonsolin, Michael Grove, Gavin Stone, River Ryan, Emmett Sheehan. Also relievers, Evan Phillips, Michael Kopech, Brusdar Graterol, all starting on the injured list. Shohei Ohtani not expected to pitch till June. Mookie Betts has lost 25 pounds due to an illness. Plus, they're using him at shortstop. He's only played 65 games at shortstop last year, and he made 9 errors. Okay, all of that said, the Dodgers are going to dominate. Who am I kidding? All right, second place, I got the San Diego Padres as an over. Their projection is 85.5. I've got them winning 91 games. The Padres lost some pieces over the winter. Tanner Scott, Jurickson Profar, Kyle Higashioka, they all signed elsewhere. They'll be without Joe Musgrove, but there's still enough talent to contend. Dylan Cease, Michael King, Yu Darvish still anchor this rotation. They did add Jose Iglesias, so they got the OMG vibes going as well. Luis Arias, impending free agent. If the Padres struggle, could he be a trade target? It is a very top-heavy lineup. Arias, Machado, Bogarts, Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis, but I do believe that they are still a playoff caliber team. Then in third place, I've got the Arizona Diamondbacks at 86 and 76. I've got them missing the playoffs. The Diamondbacks, I got to give them credit. They somehow managed to have the best offense in baseball in 2024, even though Corbin Carroll had a very disappointing season. He's got a rebound with Jock Peterson and Christian Walker no longer there. But the Diamondbacks add another Corbin Burns, into the rotation. 6 years, $210 million. You add him to Zach Allen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez. That's a good rotation. No Jordan Montgomery. He's having Tommy John surgery, and the Diamondbacks owner is probably doing cartwheels over the news. And with the lineup, remember, when Ketel Marte plays, he is a top 5 player in the National League. He just hasn't been playing enough. So, again, lineup a little bit of a question, back end of the bullpen a question as well, especially with the loss of Tanner Scott. In fourth place, my final under, Their projection is 80.5 wins. I've got them winning 76 games, the San Francisco Giants. Logan Webb anchors this rotation, and then Justin Verlander replaces Blake Snell in the rotation, who, of course, left for the Dodgers. So let me get this straight. The Giants' starting rotation last year accumulated the fewest innings in the National League, and now they had a 42-year-old. We don't even know if he has anything left. Now, Willie Adames, very good addition to the lineup, but I don't see much depth in that lineup. Camilo Doval, he's got to make a comeback in the bullpen. I just think the rest of that division is too good. I don't think San Francisco has the talent of a 76-win team. I just think the rest of the division is too good for them. And finally, finishing in last, Colorado with a record of 60-102. They haven't won 69 games since 2021. They got some capable bats. You got Michael Toglia, Brenton Doyle, Ezekiel Tovar, Hunter Goodman. Chris Bryant, will he ever get going again? I swear, he's like Anthony Rendon, the sequel. He won a World Series and he just can't be healthy. And for pitching, nothing really there. I mean, Chase Dollander looks like a nice up-and-coming starter. So, of course, he just got signed to the minors. All right, those are my season record predictions. So, now let's get into the awards. So, for MVP in the AL, I'm going with Gunnar. I'm just going to roll through these. Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles. I think it's time for him to take that next step up. The talent is clearly there, and I think he is going to really help carry that Orioles lineup. NL, I got to go with Juan Soto. It's about time a Met won an MVP award. Francisco Lindor got robbed last year. I think with the talent the Dodgers have, it's going to be harder than ever for them to win it, and I say it's Soto. On to the Cy Young. I was going to say Logan Gilbert until he got hurt. I'm just going to say Tariq Skubal repeats. But I was leaning towards Gilbert, maybe Garrett Cole, but I'm just going to go Skubal to repeat because I don't think we've seen his best yet. National League, I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to say Dylan Cease. He is in a contract year. He could very well be getting traded. I know he could get traded out of the NL, but with something to prove, I think he really has just a dominant season and helps lift the Padres into the playoffs. Rookie of the Year, I got Jackson Jobe, the starting pitcher in Detroit. Nationally, Dylan Cruz down in Washington. Manager of the Year, I've got A.J. Hinch from the Detroit Tigers winning the American League honors. And in the National League, I've got Craig Counsell bringing it home for the Chicago Cubs. And then finally, in the World Series, I didn't really want to go chalk. Part of me really wants to the American League. I can make an argument for about 8 or 9 teams making the World Series. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers making it out of the American League. I could see them making a couple of reinforcement trades here and there. I want to go Yankees. I just think they've lost too much in that pitching rotation. And without Soto, I'm sorry, I just don't think it's going to happen for them. Because, again, you got to remember, the best team does not always make the World Series. It's just you got to get there healthy and you got to get hot at the right moment. And after a World Series followed by a very disappointing year, I think Texas has something to prove this year. And I say they're going to make it to the World Series against the LA Dodgers because it's very hard to go against them. The Dodgers have enough pitching to field, 2 starting rotations. And I'm going to give it to the Dodgers in 6 games. So I'm going to say the LA Dodgers become back-to-back World Series champions. Well, those are my predictions for the MLB season. If you want to drop some of your predictions, put them right down there in the comments. I will be in Houston on Friday and Saturday when the Mets are in town, and with the 7 Line Army. Looking forward to having an amazing time. So everybody, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the channel with a friend. And I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.